Hey guys, this is HD and back for game number 23, and it is actually going to be a Protoss versus Zerg matchup. And I have to say, as of right now, Protoss is probably my worst race in Starcraft 2 beta, but I know you guys want to see all the races, and so I'm going to show you guys Protoss versus Zerg. And I actually wanted to say a couple of things. First of all, I've decided to change up the format of how I'll be uploading, so you guys know that I alternate between replays and first-person views. As you guys can see, this is a first-person view, and the game before this was a replay. But I've decided to change that up in favor of showing you guys more high-level play from pro gamers in the top Platinum League. And so what I'll be doing is alternating between first-person views and replays of those top-level players. So I won't be doing replays of myself anymore. Rather, I'll be doing replays of high-level gamers and then also alternating with first-person views of myself playing. So that way you guys can get a little bit of both sides. You guys can see from a spectator's point of view, you know, the top-level players, and then you can also see how I play. And I guess, you know, that should, a lot of people want to see that. So I hope you guys enjoy that new format. And the other thing I want to talk about is the build order for this game. This game I'm actually going to be doing a Forge Fast Expand. So you guys can see that I've actually got my Pylon in front of my Natural and a Forge right away. Now, if you guys play StarCraft 2 and you guys like Protoss, do not do this build order unless you are on this map, which is Lost Temple. And I'm sure you guys know all about Lost Temple, very classic map. But it's extremely important not to do this build unless you're on Lost Temple, and the reason for that is because every map except Lost Temple currently in the beta pool, it's very easily exploitable for your opponent to go around your choke. They can either go through the rocks at the back door, or if you try to go for a Forge Fast Expand, your choke is too wide to cover, and only Lost Temple really allows you to do this successfully. And Blizzard has acknowledged this. They've said that they'll be coming out with more maps which have a narrow choke at the natural expansion so that you can play Terran better, for example, or go for a Forge Fast Expand against Zerg. So, with that out of the way, I actually wanted to tell you guys that I did go for a Nexus first before going for 2 cannons. The reason for going for a Nexus first is because I got my scout inside the opponent's base, the Zerg base, and I saw that his spawning pool was only about halfway done, maybe even a little bit earlier than that. If you guys rewind the video, you guys will see that. So in that case, if your opponent's spawning pool is only about halfway up, that means that he probably went for a 12 pool, which means you should be safe going for the Nexus first and then 2 cannons after the Forge Fast Expand. However, if your opponent goes for, say, a spawning pool around 10, and you go scout him, then the spawning pool will be almost complete. That means you're going to have to go for 2 cannons first and then a Nexus. So these little subtle things, these are all build order timings. Build orders are the essentially they're like the building blocks in StarCraft 2 for the first about maybe 5 minutes. And even a little bit more than that, and it's extremely important to get your build orders right so that you'll set yourself up to have the best mid-game possible. Early game is all about build orders, so you guys can see that my build order here is very exact. All these things I've basically practiced or researched, but mostly it's all coming from plain practice. So, if you guys are playing Protoss and there's more maps that Blizzard said will be coming out with nice narrow chokes without a backdoor like Blistering Sands where they can break the rocks, then feel free to try this build order. It's a very powerful build from Brood War that pro gamers use a lot. It's called the Forge Fast Expand, and it allows you to get 2 Nexuses up very quickly, get the income you're going to need, and basically take advantage in terms of economy. Now, my opponent has got his Overlord inside my base, so he knows my build here, he knows what I'm going for, and he can react in 2 ways. He can either try to break my front door now while I don't have much units, or he can also take his own expansion, in fact take 2 expansions, and try to out-macro me that way. So it's up to the Zerg player. The ball's in his court right now, so we'll see how he plays this out. And I actually want to say that the really cool thing about having 2 Nexus in StarCraft 2 is that you can spam that chrono boost ability. So you guys can see that I am spamming it on my gateway, on my cyber core that's researching warp gates. So it's extremely important to get that second Nexus up if you can. The other thing is, in this game, I'm actually thinking about not going for a robotics facility build, I was actually thinking about going for a different build, and that is the High Templar Archon build versus Zerg. And I haven't really been able to use it that much yet, because basically the robo facility build with Colossus and Immortals is just so good that it's kind of been overshadowing the Archon build. So I've decided this game to go for an Archon build with Templars and Psystorm. But in order to do that, I'm going to need a lot of gas. So you guys can see that the advantage to going with this fast expand is I'll have access to 4 Vespene gases early in the game. So we'll see how this game goes. I know I've been talking a lot since it started, but I had to quickly give you guys the information you'll need. But now I'll go ahead and sit back a little bit and let you guys absorb the game as it continues to progress. Now, as you guys can see, I do have a Citadel of a Dune. I call it a Citadel of a Dune because it's basically a Citadel of a Dune, but it's now called the, I always forget, Twilight Council. It's the Twilight Council. I get that quickly up because I'm going to need Zealot Charge, because I'm going to have lots of leftover minerals in this build. Since I'm going for an Archon Templar build, I'm going to have a lot of gas. I'm going to have very little gas, but I'm going to have a lot of minerals because Templars cost a lot of gas. So getting Zealot Charge is a good idea since my army is going to have lots and lots of Zealots. Also, you guys can see I'm getting cannons down because around this time it is possible for my opponent to have Mutalisks, so I would definitely want to make sure that my mineral lines are covered from a potential Mutalisk harass. You guys also see that my opponent's response to my Forge Fast Expand was an expansion of his own, so my opponent is looking to take the economic edge over me, or at least keep up, and if he's smart, he should have a 3rd expo somewhere around the map as well. And I'm probably going to want to scout that out sooner rather than later.
You must construct additional pylons. You require my skills.
Now, it actually looks like my opponent might be pushing in with some units here at my front door. I do have Templar Archives out, so I'm morphing in some High Templars just right now. Zealot Charge is almost done as well. It looks like my